This is a pitch about some of my feelings on MIMO and what MIMO can be. Quite honestly, it's an independent developer type project, so it'll go where it goes with the group. And these slides are just my perspective of what I would like to see. It's not necessarily where the actual project will go, since it's going to be a group project. But I at least wanted to let everybody know what my vision was. Again, this MIMO game is a first step and be able to build on top of for music applications that mostly DJs, musicians, and music fans will use. It's not meant to be a competitor with a big virtual world like Sansar. My hope is that it'll encourage people to learn how to DJ or perform as musicians over the internet in a 3D virtual environment, and be a serious tool that people might use to try to do that, rather than just trying to make a game work as their way of sharing their music through the internet. Again, I would like to, beyond just the game itself and the software, build a community of musicians and DJs that are really looking to use 3D worlds in order to perform and share their music. And it also is a virtual rave platform for the people that enjoy music that may not be musicians, to be able to interact as a community and go listen to music and play around with music, quite honestly. Also, we'll have an integrated dance application, and so you can at least entertain yourself as you're sitting there and listening to music. The vision of MIMO, it's evolving. Who knows where it'll really end up? But basically, the goal is we want a really immersive, beautiful 3D space that's built around music and the musicians, so fans and musicians can collaborate and share music. While building the software is important, the focus has got to be on the community and how they enjoy and use the tool set. Here's a roadmap. This is at least where I see us going, and these dates obviously will change since it is a very small team. The version 0.0.0, which is what I'm saying is released here in May. We had a way to get this version out. It is a base release. It is a basic gameplay of multiplayer session-based games through Steam. So it's the baseline. It doesn't have a lot of the other features I want, except to be able to, you can get it with multiple characters, with avatars, walk around, and so on. Now, version 1, or version 0.1.0, is a music application integration release. A point to be made about the versioning, at least in my mind, the versions, the first is a major release, and as version 0, and it'll be version 1 when we go to the first general release, beta release to inside of Steam. So the first is a major release, the second is a minor release, and the minor release you will see here. They're basically major things that I want, functionality that we would add. And the third number in there is the change. So, for example, I've released version 0.0.0. My next Steam release of the game will be after the end of a sprint, and it will be 0.0.1, and then the next one will be 0.0.2, and so on. So every time I go in there and I update Steam with a sprint release, it will be the last number will change. But you won't see the second number change until we say, hey, we're done with release 0, we're done with release 1, and so on. So release 1, again, that version 0.1, it's going to have the first set of music applications integrated. And in terms of testing, The version 0 of the testing was just going to be, our core team here. A version 1, the testing will be people that are there music people that would use it. So people, if we integrate a music platform, we would want them to come in and try it. We want some of our DJ friends and our musician friends to come in and try it with us as well. Version 0.2 is a beta release of the product, and we'll have a set of beta, testers, whatever it be, 25 people, 30 people, whatever we can get. And I expect that by the end of the year. Then we would, next spring, release it to the general Steam community in some kind of early release form, not the final release form. A lot of work, but when you're doing it independently, as an independent development like this, you can only get so much done. The initial gameplay release is version 0.0. And one thing I discovered, just as an aside, building games is hard. And no wonder it takes so long and so much big budgets in order to be able to release things. The initial release of the game, and I've got a video that's associated, and you've seen it, you'll be able to get into it in the coming week or so, it's a session-based game with matchmaking, meaning that somebody's running a local server and people are joining. It's got two different kinds of avatar types, Ready Player Me, RPM, and DAS-based, and the DAS-based ones you can morph. And the RPM ones you can, of course, obviously change inside of the RPM app and bring them in. So you basically change them outside of the game and then bring them in and play them inside of the game with those characters inside of the game. It's got a whole set of animations tied to them, mostly dance and major gesture animations, and a walk cycle for each character set. You can teleport. You can go, so there's multiple scenes that have been loaded, or worlds. We're continuing to work on those. We're going to be having, of course, the ones of Music Oasis we've already developed. We'll probably move the majority of them over also to be able to use in Unreal, and plus some new ones. You can change your camera controls from first person to third person and so on. It's got a chat application integrated. It's got a voice application integrated, so you can talk or text with each other. And for music applications, all it's really got so far, and it's quite a bit though. I mean, there's Dmx Lighting, which is a major issue or a major feature. So I have replicating DMX lights between the games. So if you go in there, you can control the typical DJ lights that you would see in a club. And also I have the ability to stream video in to the application. So what I've got kind of is a, almost kind of the Sansar music experience, where you would go to a Oasis dance, bring your character in. In fact, it looks just the same over in Reykjavik, except maybe even a little bit better instead of Unreal. And you can get in there and you can go with your character and and have it dance, and the DJ up front can start a stream and basically do the same things that we've been doing inside of Sansar. So that's a release 0 of the game. Release 1 is the initial music application, and these are some of the things we might work on. It is, a lot of this kind of stuff is still going to be fluid, but right now there's a solo game experience, and it really is just executes a hosting. So all I'm going to do is take a solo game experience. If they click that, I'm just not going to launch the game for people to join. So it's mostly just unhooking a couple things if they click that button. But I don't have that way, so I need to do it. Avatars, I want to take the RPM characters. Currently they're stored as an HTTP, as a URL, and you have to bring them in, so we got to wait for it. So I'm going to go ahead, once you've brought it in, I'm going to store it so you can get it a lot faster. RPM characters will be stored on our own database. We're going to launch RPM customization website. So what happens right now, if you go on RPM, you just get into a web browser and go to the site and grab the create your character, and then it gives you a URL. So here's where your character is, and then when you're in our game, there's a set of screens that you can go through that says, here, use this URL. I want to do something a little tighter than that by integrating the website inside of inside of the game. So inside of the game, you'd make the customizations, and then you click and it would be inside of the game. So Daz avatar, for it, I'm going to go ahead options to change the materials on the avatar. So basically you can change its skin tone. Again, kind of typical stuff you do in Sansar when you set up a character. Skin tone, eyes, nails, lips, and so forth. You can already morph its character, the way it looks in terms of its body. So this would be able to change the materials as well as the body. Inside of the game, I need to add something. So if you mouse over a character, that their name and information about the character appears. And also I'm going to add a run, jump, crouch to the walk cycle. I want to have that added. Animation, we'd like to go add emotions and gestures via chat commands like they are in Second Life. So you could basically say /laugh and your character would laugh, that type of thing inside of the chat window. The faces right now are just don't move at all. I want to go ahead and add idle face animations to the idle. So if the character is standing there, at least their eyes blink and they're, they look a little bit more natural. Settings, add microphone and headphone settings rather than just use the default. So you can change which microphone and headset to integrate into the game. And also I wanted to put without a voice indicator over the person that's talking inside of the game, so you can see which person is actively talking. Music applications. I just talked about the basic gameplay improvements. In addition to that, I really want to start looking at music applications integration. So I'm going to look at Shoutcast. How hard would that be to integrate? Also Mixcloud the same way. Test it. See if it just will work. Is what I already have set up. I will demo and test potential endless integrations. It may be nothing more than saying, here's endless, and here's how you get endless in through the media screen. But it will be at least that. Same thing with Cakewalk BandLab integrations, because the whole thought process here is to get people that are using that currently to collaborate with the music, and maybe sharing it through Twitch to be also able to share that in an event inside of our game. I am going to start my own internal looper integration inside of the game. So just like in Sansar, I had the application where you could build up beats inside of the game with my looper. It will be a looper that you can this garage band like that you can go ahead and create a live looping mix inside of the game, and it'll be built on a piece of software called Giada. The OBS scripts, I want to look at what I can do to make that easier. I was going to integrate it in the product. I think that's an overkill, but I will, at least have scripts or existing things to surround OBS, so a person won't have to possibly go through all the pain associated with getting an OBS stream, getting it to Twitch, and getting it inside of the game, and then rebroadcasting out through Twitch, and all the effort associated with that. And I'm going to start doing fun things. So in addition to the lights I have in there, I'm going to start doing a little more advanced graphic work for special effects for the dances. Then later this year, I have some other things. Now, again, some things will flow from one to the other as things go on, as we discover that some things are too hard, or we really don't want to do them after we start. But basic gameplay improvements is I want to change the drop-down list you got now when you log in to say, hey, here's where I want to host my event at, to something that's more where you would have a web page or a page inside of the game where a person could schedule an event or say an event, and you would see it there and have graphics and so on, again like Sansar. So some events could be scheduled, and then you would launch those events more like it is in Sansar, rather than just setting up the way it is right now with the drop-down list. Avatars, I wanted to have full texture swapping. Right now, in the previous release, I was going to give them the ability to tint things and change their colors and maybe change their nail colors or their lips and so on. I was going to add for the fact that you could actually get the UV map out and modify the UV map and replace it, load it back up into the game, and your character could be, whatever you did to change on the material side of the UV map would be showing in the, on your character. I'm going to add NPC options, mostly because it's already in the game anyway. I mean, I've already got it in the code. I just need to integrate it. And I don't know how much people would use NPC things, but again, it would allow us to stage up and shoot movies and stuff more using Unreal with all the NPC characters, which might be something we want to do for, or people might even want to do for creating videos to support the music they're building. Animations. I'm going to look into syncing. Both RPM now and DAZ have Vyzium's animations loaded to them in the game, but I have done nothing to try to use them. So what is a Vyzium? That means they're how your mouth looks when you talk, basically. And so I have to. I want to start looking to see how hard that would be to integrate, into the voice. So if you're talking in the voice, your mouth will move along and sync along with it. The animation, I couldn't do it previously in some cases because I didn't have the Vyziums to be able to do it. But now RPM in the latest release has Vyziums available. So I think it's probably, and towards the end of the year, would be something worth looking at. Settings, host control environment settings for sky and lighting. So the host can say, hey, I want it to be night. I want it to, have a lot of cloud cover. I want the moon, whatever. Whatever settings are made available to us via the skybox we're using. We'll go ahead and make available to, if you're a host, that you can bring up a menu to go change them for your event or during your event. Music applications, kinds of things I'll probably look at towards the end of the year are playable musical instruments again, which we did in Sansar. Riff integration again, which we did in Sansar, just moving, just taking that kind of stuff on top of the Giada, the Giada or another application that'll be external. I did those inside of Sansar itself, so I use the Sansar game engine and its sound capabilities. I don't want to do that inside of a lesson. We're not going to do that inside of Unreal, but I'm just going to have the ability to Unreal to call a existing app that will create the applications and then stream the music back inside it into their sound back inside into Unreal. Probably, if I have a looper done, I will build beat blocks as our first example of a game inside the game, and then I'm going to finish up hopefully the stuff I started in the previous one, or at least decide if I'm going to really be able to do it or not. So that's kind of the rest of the year in a nutshell of what I was planning on doing.